Beyond the Waves is a Hail Hail Media production. It may contain sweary words, and adult situations may be discussed. If you're in the company of underage temps, turn up the show now and listen back later. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, email us at beyondthewaves67@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter at BTW Celtic Show, or you can join our group on Facebook at Beyond the Waves. Hail, hail, and keep the faith.
Far across the sea, when the devil got a hold of me, he wouldn't set me free, so he kept me sold for ransom. Na 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 na. I'm a sailor man from Glasgow town. I've roamed this world around and round. He's the meanest thing that I had found in all me days of wandering. Na 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 na. And I could see his evil eyes. Once then he took me by surprise. Take me to your paradise. I want to see the jungle. Na 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 na. Here we go again. We're on the road again. We're on the road again. We're on our way to paradise. We love the jungle deep. That's where the lion sleeps. For then those evil eyes, they have no place in paradise. Graffiti on the wall just as the sun was going down. I see graffiti on the wall. Of the cells, of the cells. Graffiti on the wall, it says we're magic, we're magic. Graffiti on the wall. Graffiti on the wall. And it says ooh ah up the rat, say ooh ah up the rat. Ooh ah up the rat, say ooh ah up the rat. Ooh ah up the rat, say ooh ah up the rat. Ooh ah up the rat, say ooh ah up the rat. Ooh ah up the rat, say ooh ah up the rat. Ooh ah up the rat, say ooh ah up the rat. We went through each jungle deep, for the paradise that we did seek was no trip for the weak. There waltzing with the natives. Na 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 na. From the Amazon to Borneo, from Africa to Tokyo, to the darkest jungles of the world, but nowhere could I lose them. Na 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 na. Around in circles every way, he turned to me and he did say, I think you're leading me astray. I want your soul, me bow. Na 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 na. Here we go again. We're on the road again. We're on the road again. We're on our way to paradise. We love the jungle deep. That's where the lion sleeps. For then those evil eyes, they have no place in paradise. Graffiti on the wall, just as the sun was going down. I see graffiti on the wall. Of the cells, of the cells. Graffiti on the wall, it says we're magic, we're magic. Graffiti on the wall. Graffiti on the wall. It says ooh ah up the rat, say ooh ah up the rat. Ooh ah up the rat, say ooh ah up the rat. Ooh ah up the rat, say ooh ah up the rat. Ooh ah up the rat, say ooh ah up the rat. Ooh say ooh ah up the ra. Ooh ah up the ra, say ooh ah up the ra.
Welcome to the Beyond the Waves Celtic Football Show. My name is Graham Wilson. Well, we just beat the greatest club football side ever that there ever was, which actually, that makes us the greatest club football side ever. Unbelievable effort shown by every one of those players. You know what? I just realized I'm losing my voice a little bit. I wasn't aware, of how much I was yelling, I guess, but fantastic. Just a wonderful feeling. I mean, just right on the heels of the result away at the new camp, where it was just so heartbreaking. Losing the goal right there at the end, it was a lot of emotion, just coming out, that we saw it out, and we shocked a lot of people. Even after that result at the new camp the last time, I think we still surprised a lot of people. We caught everyone off guard once again. I can't believe it, but we caught Barcelona off guard once again. In a sense, it's not a surprise. I mean, Barcelona have a particular way that they want to play, and they play it no matter what. They don't deviate from that, and sometimes it's to their own detriment. Sometimes they come up against an opponent that is so determined, that is so focused, that is so ingrained in what they're trying to do, and they come up against a goalkeeper who is getting into the prime of their career, finding out just how good they are and how good they can be. I'm talking about Fraser Forster, another just absolutely epic performance from him, proving that I think that the discussion about Fraser Forster versus Arthur Bortz, that's just done. It's over. Arthur, I love you. Okay, the holy goalie, absolutely love him, but he can't light a candle to Fraser Forster. The saves that he's made and the performances that he's had consistently for such a young player, truly remarkable. Truly remarkable that we have a player of his caliber for $2 million pounds. Unbelievable bit of business once again for Neil Lennon and his staff. I want to give a shout out to the Rev. He's on his way to the Red Bulls game, so I think they're playing the DC United team in the MLS playoffs. So all the best to Rev, and obviously he's going to have a fantastic night tonight in the freezing cold. So bundle up, Rev. with your shiny bald head. And shout out to the coach as well. Coach and I got into it a bit last night with all of the election stuff, and it got a bit heated. So that was unfortunate, and some of it was regrettable, at least on my part. So shout out to the coach. But thank you for joining me. We typically don't do a show during the middle of the week because honestly, I just got home, and it's a lot of like working afternoons while the games are going on, and so on and so forth. I don't have an opportunity really to even prepare anything, get my thoughts together, and I just figured with this performance tonight and with this result, we needed to do this. We needed to do something and get on the air so that if you'd like to get in touch and sort of share your thoughts, then we're here for you. So the Skype lines are open. You can add us as a contact on Skype at Beyond the Waves. I want to know who was your man of the match tonight, and don't give me the usual cop out. The entire team was the man of the match, or the support was the man of the match. I want to know who was your standout player, who was your key player tonight, and just pick one and give me a reason why. Let us know. Skype us at Beyond the Waves. Danny O'Connor, the great Danny O'Connor, up and coming Irish American boxer, obviously training in Houston, originally from Massachusetts, was doing the halftime draw today, and we've seen some just fantastic tweets from him documenting his visit to Glasgow and the reception that he's gotten, and so shout out to him. It was fantastic, that he got the opportunity to go there, and he was welcomed so warmly. So fantastic stuff there. We're now joined by Celtic Dreams. I guess this is Big G. Big G, are you there?
How you doing, mate?
Yeah, doing fantastic. Thanks. You're live on the Beyond the Wave Celtic Football Show. Really have become a fan of your show as well over the last several weeks. Great stuff. So definitely keep it up. What are you thinking now, man? Just buzzing on cloud nine. I'm sure.
I'm not long in the door, mate. 5 minutes, and I'm totally buzzing. My throat's going and everything. The atmosphere was totally amazing. It's probably the best game I've been to in a hell of a long time, mate, and totally awesome. I've got to, just before anything, mate, I've got to say well done to Green Brigade. Amazing, totally and utterly amazing.
Have you ever seen anything like that?
No, I've never seen anything like it. I don't care what anybody says. That is the best I've ever seen worldwide.
I mean,
what have you?
Obviously, I'm very active on Twitter, and the tweets that were belted out. Once the display was shown on television, obviously, the timeline just filled up with everybody talking about the display there, and it was universal. The goosebumps that you felt, and just the awe, the awe-inspiring sight of it, the entire stadium. From looking at the Lisbon Lions down to the Jock Stein and seeing the Celtic crosses there, and the display. And what was also interesting was you follow the players as they walked out of the tunnel, and every one of their heads turned and their mouths opened. It's like, I mean,
it was awesome. As a supporter, mate, it was just totally awesome. It was an amazing night, and we ride over Saint came out. He says, "What is my mates and that? They're all Motherwell fans. What they're going to say? Oh, Barcelona had 80% of the ball." And I says, you know what? I says, tonight, we've seen a team world class. I says, at keeping the ball. I says, but you know what? I says, we seen a team that was world class at defending.
No question. And not just anti-football, as it's been termed by, whoever also ran coaches who, can't even light a candle to Neil Lennon at this point in the team that he's built, let's be honest. But, you have a concept of what anti-football was. This was not anti-football. This was just adept defending, just the level of organization and the level of, I hate to use organization. I mean, it's such a cliche, but you know what I mean? It's just that dogged defending. And once again, some of the tackles that were put in, Adam Matthews for me was absolutely unstoppable, and it was fantastic to see on the heels of, an underwhelming performance last weekend. Let's be honest. He absolutely stepped up. He filled in for Izagiri at that left back role. That was a big concern of mine, and he was absolutely immense. Who was your man of the match, G?
Oh, it's got to be the keeper, mate.
Yeah.
I thought
you have to say
it was unreal. I tweeted when I was in Barcelona. I came out of the game in Barcelona, and I just basically says £2 million bargain. And
yeah, you have to say
that's the bottom line.
You have to say. I mean, maybe one of the biggest bargains in world football. I mean, we live in a time when so many, I mean, fantastic players, no question about it, but are being sold for tens upon tens of millions of pounds. £2 million. He should be the number one. He should be the number one keeper in England. No question about it.
We were talking, and I've got to tell you, Graham, right? We were just in, and we were all sitting, and Barcelona just came out to warm up, right? And I says to WG, I says, there you go, wee man. I says, the greatest footballer in the world. And he turned around and says, who, Sammy? I was like, you can't buy that. Do you know what I mean?
Well done. Well done.
I says, you're right. I says, I was like when Messi came out, I says, there you go, wee man, the best footballer in the world. He's like, who, Sammy? I went, aye, just leave it at that. What can you say to that, Graham?
No question. That is quality. And Sammy, in spite of just coming back from injury and, he looked a bit off the pace towards the end of his time on the pitch. You could see when he was walking off. I mean, it was just absolutely gasping for air. But, I thought he put in a great shift. He was very active up top, occupying the Barcelona center halves and the fullbacks there. And, I mean, hats off to him. The 180 that he's turned, in the course of a year. I mean, there's so many people, myself included, a calendar year ago that, would just slate him. And, he's really shown his worth and validated a lot of the faith that Neil Lennon had in him. And good for him. I mean, you have to feel good for him.
I think with Sammy, when he first came to his game, everybody classed him as a striker. And that was it. And I think there was so much pressure on him. Neil Lennon basically identified that, do you know what, you're better off out it in the left-hand side where you can just run at players.
Exactly.
And the pressure kind of lifted for him.
Yeah.
And when he was getting the goal, when he started to get goals, it was like people were saying, do you know what, he's actually starting to do not bad.
Yeah.
And his confidence grew, and that was under Neil Lennon, which no other manager was able to do.
Yeah,
Sammy.
exactly.
It was. I thought everybody was totally outstanding. Chris Commons, I don't like Chris Commons out in the wing. I didn't think he was all great, but every single player gave 110% tonight, mate. It was amazing.
They absolutely did. Gee, thanks so much for calling in. Before we let you go, give the show a punt because I think it's definitely worthwhile. Everybody listening in, listen up. Gee, tell us where we can find you and when you're on.
Well, we've actually kind of changed it. Unfortunately, as you know, the bad news, and it is bad news, obviously, over and over stopped as well.
Yeah.
So I done a show last night, and I came on, I was like, it's Happy Birthday Celtic. So I just actually went in and played the old songs, like the old songs my dad used to sing to me when I was about 4 and things like that. And all the guys were saying, can you move to a Friday? So basically, I know I'm basically just going to move to a Friday, but Free Gelly has got a show on and a Saturday. He's used to start at a Sunday, but he's going to start moving that to a Saturday. And the reason why, Graham, is because for the last 6-8 weeks I've kind of been doing a Friday and a Saturday, just with demand, because Housy's been so busy and what have you. I started out on a Saturday, but the guys were tweeting me and asking me to do a Friday night as well, and I just felt I was on constantly. So probably I'll be doing a Saturday night. I'll be doing this Friday night. I'm actually heading out to a charity do on Saturday. Next weekend I'll be doing the Friday and Saturday, but basically from the 30th of November it's just a Friday night, and what I'll be doing is from 8 o'clock to 11. Every Friday night on Spreaker, the Celtic Dream Show. Any guys that are listening, you can go back in and you can listen to the kind of shows that we've done. We don't try and do what you want to call hardcore rebel or anything. We like to try and keep it Celtic songs, Irish songs. Then once I get a few beers in me, mate, then we kind of go into the rebels at the end of the night.
Superb. Yeah, and you can find them, like you said, you can find them at the Celtic Dream Show on Spreaker as well as on Twitter at Celtic Dreams 12. Is it, G?
Yeah,
perfect.
That's it, mate.
Perfect. Fantastic stuff. So, tune in, listen in. It's fantastic. And the chat room is great crack as well. Gee, thanks so much for calling in. And, hopefully we can call on you again as we undoubtedly move into the last 16 in the Champions League.
I will do. You know yourself, Graham, I'll listen in. But thanks for having me on tonight, mate, and I'll speak to you soon, okay?
Cheers, pal. Hello.
Right, take care. Bye.
Yep. Big G calling in. Now, the calls are coming in fast and furious. Now we're joined by Jerry McMahon. Jerry, hell, you're live on Beyond the Waves Celtic Football Show. Yeah, you're coming in. You're coming in loud and clear.
Missed the opening part of the show, Graham. But what an incredible night!
Jerry, do me a favor. Turn your if you have your Spreaker on, just click out of there for a second, because you don't you're not going to need that. You're talking straight to me.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect, pal. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, Graham, I missed the start of the show. Just caught up on Twitter that you were on. I thought, what an incredible night. I thought the display was just breathtaking. I mean, I don't know whether you could see that in the run-up to the match, but I thought, regardless of the result, I thought that was an incredible advert for the club.
It certainly was. I mean, you heard from, many of the obviously it was, I believe it was covered on Sky over there. You heard from the pundits over there, and as well as for over here was, I believe it was Ian Crocker and Davey Proven, and their response and their comments, and even the Yanks who were doing the post game commentary, made mention to the fact that, I mean, if there's anywhere in the world that you'd want to be right now, it's in Glasgow wearing green and white, because, just what a phenomenal display. I mean, I think, they even referred to it as, this is the type of scenario, this is the type of scene, atmosphere that, you think back to 30, 40 years from now and say, I played there. I played in an atmosphere that was just indescribable. It's incredible.
Graham, I watched the match with my daughter tonight at home. For financial reasons, we'd already bought a season ticket, both of us. And she was bugging the life out of me, desperate to go. And I thought, I so wish I had gone. But it's like yourself. I think when you've got a love for the club, you can share that joy regardless of where you are on the planet. And to do that with her, when she's now a massive Celtic fan, it was such an enormous privilege to be part of the club and part of the family tonight. I think there were so many reasons to be proud, and congratulations to you guys yet again coming on tonight and giving the fans a chance to talk about it, because I think it's one of these nights where nobody really wants to go to sleep. You do want to share the joy, you want to live it. And really, when you think, I said this to you the last time I was on, when you think of where we were a year ago, is there a more remarkable rise in world football than the rebirth of Celtic at the present time?
Jerry, thanks so much for calling in. We really appreciate it, pal. And hopefully, we can hear from you again, as we progress in the Champions League, as well as, progressing. I mean, we're playing in 4 competitions right now, and it's just, I appreciate you calling in and you mentioning that. I mean, I felt that, it was really, I needed to come on, because just the feeling tonight. I mean, it's a bit difficult just coming home from work, and the wife is probably not going to be so pleased with me. But sometimes you just got to go for it and go ahead and do it.
Well done, guys. I look forward to listening to the last wee hour or so. Hail, hail.
Cheers, pal.
Loving the dream.
Hail, hail.
Cheers, bye now.
Jerry's calling in, and thank you so much to Jerry for calling in. Really appreciate, like I said, we just appreciate all of the calls that we get and the Twitter messages and the emails. Please keep them coming. They're very encouraging and motivational, and we absolutely love it. Skype lines are completely open. Now, do me a favor, when you do call in, please turn your speakers all the way down if you can, or if you're listening back on the on the either the app or the website or whatever, just close it. Just shut it completely off. Shut your browser off and just keep it open on Skype. That way we don't get any feedback. But joining us now, speaking of feedback, we have the Apollo Creed of the Celtics support. He's got more nicknames than Babe Ruth himself. It's the Parrot, Stephen Monahan. Stephen, thank you so much for calling in, and thank you so much for the pictures. I mean, you give such great pictures on our Facebook page. It's a Facebook group, actually, at Beyond the Waves. You put them up every week, and it's great for us over here that don't get an opportunity to see Celtic Park. But, I mean, there's just no better scenario to be able to witness the sights of the night than tonight, and we really appreciate you documenting that for us so that we can feel a part of it in some way as well. So really appreciate it, pal. Now, you were at the game. Please just, if you can, put it into words, describe for me the atmosphere, the scene, and then describe for us a bit as the game's going on. I mean, obviously we had the 1-0 lead, and we made it to halftime. Sigh of relief, and then you get into the second half, and the tension starts to build. Take us through that process there. I mean, are you expecting Barcelona to equalize? I mean, is there sort of that impending dread, or did you just feel like, no, we're going to do it this time? Tell us.
All right, Graham, nice to speak to you. And my voice is totally away, mate. Poke Paul with a hot poker at my ass to make me sing all night.
Completely understand.
No, mate, obviously, probably the best 48 hours of my life as a Celtic fan, being very lucky being at the Mass last night, but I'm sure that'll be talked about at another time, but unbelievable, Graham. Really, I was in town all day slurping mellow birds. I met Jason Higgins, and we were in the Merchant City, and I was actually going to the bookmakers, and I refused to go. The nuns were outside a shop, put some money in the nuns box, kept out the bookies, and I tweeted the pictures. I walked up from Baird's. The town was heaving, mate. Honestly, the Barca fans were out. The fan zone was out. It was fantastic. Walked by St Mary's, said a little prayer, walked up into the ground, and I wasn't nervous, to be honest. I just went, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. 60,000 folk here tonight. Unbelievable. Probably, I don't get to as many games as I should, but that's probably the best game I've been at, mate.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I mean, just in terms of the atmosphere, from the start, I mean, obviously we knew to expect something from the Green Brigade. We got the messages, we got the tweets. We knew that the Green Brigade was up to something and it was going to be big, but just how big, I don't think any of us really grasped it or understood until we saw it. And when we did see it, just our mouths just dropped wide open. It was just incredible. Once again, the Celtic support steps up and just it rises what it means to be a Celtic supporter and what the experience is being a Celtic supporter, and we displayed it to the entire world. Like Gordon Strachan says, when Celtic plays Barcelona, the entire world watches, and that display was second to none. And from there, the players, I mean, just from start to finish, I threw out Adam Matthews as my man of the match. I mean, obviously there were so many players that were deserving. Victor Wanyama, fantastic goal, heads the ball right into the back of the net. Tony Watt came on and was just absolutely sterling. From the second that he came on, he fulfilled a role for me that was missing hitherto. Sammy is very good at running onto a ball, but he doesn't do a whole lot in terms of pressing high up the park. He does in spades, and sometimes he puts in that goofy slide tackle that, half the time I think he's going to get a red card doing that sort of thing. But Tony Watt was running everywhere, and that threw in an element of pressure and stress up the park that was missing hitherto. And then the goal that he took, I mean, just absolutely phenomenal. But for me, like I said, Adam Matthews all night long. I mean, some of the tackling that he put in, some of the harrying of that link up. Iniesta, Xavi, they had no space to work in, and when they did have space, everything was shut down. F. Ambrose just stepped up in a massive way, following on from an unfortunate result away at Tannadice on I guess it was Sunday. I mean, you can't say enough. You really can't. This has to go up in the pantheons of the greatest Celtic performances, really of the last decade. I mean, I think Neil Lennon tonight has cemented himself up next to Gordon Strachan and Martin O'Neill amongst the elite Celtic managers. Yes, it's early days in his managerial career in terms of what he's accomplished, but yes, we've beaten Barcelona at Celtic Park before in the past, but this Barcelona team, and I it's fine to shower praise on them now. We're done. They're on their way home with their tail between their legs. But this Barcelona team, and they may be on the tail end of their apex, but they're something that people are going to link with Sachi's Milan, with the great Munich sides of the mid '70s, the Real Madrid sides of the '60s. I mean, they're up there with the pantheons of the greatest ever, and we took them down. And we took them down playing football. I mean, yes, are we going to go out and attack Barcelona? No, we're never going to be able to do that. We're not going to have the possession. We don't have the sort of players that can keep possession. But we weren't cynical. We didn't kick lumps out of them. We didn't waste time. We were up for it. We defended doggedly and with a lot of character. And it showed, and I can't be happier. Especially for Fraser Forster, seeing him interviewed at the end of the game. I'm so happy for him. I mean, you could tell how gutted he was at the end of the game in the Camp Nou, and this time it was vindicated. Yes, they got the goal right there at the end. And fair play to him. I mean, you give them enough time, and sooner or later they are going to find the net. But fortunately, time ran out this time, and we got the 3 points. And I mean, we really have second, and even don't cast out leading this group at the end of it. We are in the catbird seat for this group stage, or this group that we have in the Champions League. So it's all to play for.
I mean, I agree. I mean, it's one of those nights, Graham. It's hard to, I mean, Fraser Forster, Adam Matthews, Chris Commons, everybody had great games, but for me, for the sheer audacity of it, Victor Wanyama, when we flicked the ball up in the air, then caught it.
Yeah.
You know, that to me was, he's absolutely fearless. You know, I mean, that I've been, he's sort of, there's a player comes along when you watch Celtic, and it can be great. I mean, our Paul, it's Bangura. With me, it was Wanyama. I was lucky, I guess, you know. But since he's he scored that goal against Hearts last season, that's been me. I've just been madly in love with him. And tonight when he done that, and actually the lad that was sitting beside me tonight, didn't know him from Adam, get talking away. I've managed to get you. I got your programmes, your scarves I'm working on because everything was selling out, but I got you and the ref tickets from the game tonight, so I'll post them out to you, mate.
That's brilliant. Thanks, man.
So no, I mean the match itself, Graham. Honestly, I mean they are a great team, Barcelona. But I was just sitting going, do you know what? Once we would 1-0, I said, just even give us 1-0 to half time. You know, if we get a point out of this, I'll be doing cartwheels. And then I went, we got 2-0, and then obviously they cranked it up and they cranked it up. It's just unbelievable, mate. You know, it's just very surreal. And as you say, I said to Paul Larkin and that when Paul done the Homeboys Australian show, when Yama's stock's risen that much, the French journalist Claire said, well, I mean, he can't be looking at going to QPR or anything like that. When he does eventually leave, I hope he stays for 100 years, but if that guy's going to go, it's to a club like Barcelona, it's to Milan or something like that, you know. But the squad, I mean, injury ravage, but fair play. I mean, I was at that Mass last night and we were back at Celtic Park after it, and the amount of people there, Graham, that didn't have tickets for tonight, and everybody that was there today, to a man, mate, it was just full on singing. Everybody, nobody just sat in their arse. Everybody done their job tonight, you know, and it worked. I mean, it's a dirty old stadium in the East End of Glasgow. There's no yachts about it. There's no helicopter pads, but it's got Neil Lennon's thunder, and MD's scared to go there, mate. And that's what it's all about. You know, you're coming there. It's not just 11 guys in the pitch and the manager and that. You've got everybody up against you there, and you know, and that's the deal. And it's got to be the same for when Moss will come to Celtic Park.
Oh, no question. No question. I mean, think about the. Okay, yes. Let's make a comment. Let's take stock of this team because that's a good point. Let's sort of prod this one a little bit. It seems as though, and I listen. No, I'm Dr. Death. Okay, nobody can put a sliver of negativity on a performance like this except me. But we've seen a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde character from this team, you know, and it was exemplified last weekend at Tannadice, and then, you know, the dodgy game with Kilmarnock at Celtic Park, and then they turn it on. I mean, it's listen, everything aside, these players are fully focused and they understand the opportunity that they have by playing for Celtic, playing in the Champions League, and they turn up. No question. And think about the confidence that they have. They had that. I mean, the confidence boost that they got from the last tie at the Camp Nou, where they dropped 3 points. They just beat the best club side that has ever played. You think they're scared of Benfica now? Pfft, please.
I mean, I mentioned when I on the Homeboys on Monday, though, for me, the cup draw is excellent because it means we can rest the whole first team if we have to for the Moscow game, depending what we need for that game, you know. So, no, it's great, mate. As I say, for the first time, I have to admit, I did shite myself when I seen the Barcelona team arrive in Glasgow yesterday and they all got off and waited at Mass, 3 hours worth, and I walked out and I went, and I'll be honest and I said that if you'd have turned up today, Graham, at 12 o'clock, or Declan, or the Rev, you had my ticket, mate. You know, that Mass, that done me, but that tonight was just unbelievable, mate. You know, just 48 hours. I met Josh last night, and Jason's the same, and Paul sneaked in. He's in the official pictures somehow. But no, just absolutely fantastic. But just promise me live on air, Graham Wilson, you'll lose your free G status. After Christmas, we're in Europe. You've got to come over, man. Come on.
Yeah. No question. I'm coming. Definitely.
I mean, I'm going to have to buy a flamethrower. I'm lighting that many candles for this team, you know, mate.
No, it's done. It's done. Donedeal.com. And actually, my wife keeps now talking about, you know, over here we say New Year's, you know, but Hogmanay.
Is Mrs. Wilson a shopper? Does she like her clothes? We've got Vivienne Westwood. I'll take her. I'll take her for Mellow Birds all day. You can go down to Gallagher. Well, busy even get better than us. You have a day shopping with a parrot.
Cheers.
And then we'll rendezvous. But no, mate. As I say, there's probably other more important guys than me want to get on and speak about it, mate. But no, honestly, Graham, I've put about 25 pictures up on the Facebook page. I do apologise if it's cluttering people's timeline, mate. But
I appreciate it.
Well, no, one of those nights, mate. I got you, the Rev, coach, a programme, and I got Declan's as well. As I say, the scarves, mate. Celtic Park was packed at 7 o'clock tonight, and I had a walk right round. So, as I say, I'm sure they'll get more of the scarves in as in the half and half ones, mate. Or you can have one with the 4 teams on it, sort of thing. So you can let me know, buddy. But no, just absolutely brilliant, mate. They didn't do anything wrong tonight, you know.
No question. One question for you though before we let you go. Tony Watt comes on as a substitute, scores the goal. Tony Watt needs to start for this side in the Champions League going forward, does he not? He's got to.
With that team, Graham, honestly, I mean, as I say, I was up at Tannadice on Sunday. To me, tonight, the last thing that Barcelona team needed was Tony Watt, the way he turned the defender. You know, when he first came on and twirled round him. To me, I'd play him every game. He's 18-year-old. I mean, I laughed earlier in the season. I went up at Inverness when he scored that goal. And I used a crazy word. It'll probably bite me in the arse. He'll probably end up the next Wayne Biggins. But to me, it was Van Basten-esque, mate. Honestly,
I think he's already exceeded Wayne Biggins. But go ahead.
The only player, and I was talking about it today. I met a few of Jason's friends in the pub. I seen a player in the 90s called Andy Booth playing for Huddersfield against Plymouth. I was down there working, and he moved on to Sheffield Wednesday. Didn't work out.
Yeah.
He's absolutely fearless. As I say, Barcelona at the moment have got Iniesta and Xavi, who are little small players who can knock the ball about, and they're very well protected by the referee, Graham.
Yes.
They were found out last year when Chelsea or Madrid kicked them to death and got away with it.
Yeah.
Celtic's get three of the best specimens in world football at the moment. They've got a big keeper who's agile and he comes out for everything and does what he needs to do. Victor Wanyama, to me, is a complete midfielder. Technical ability, hits the ball, can pass it, and up front, Watts ticks all the boxes as well.
Yeah, no question about it. Exciting times, pal.
Well, I'm going to go back to listen to the show, mate. I didn't say my two things once. I think I may have said Mellow Birds once, but
you said Mellow
mentioned
Birds at least several times. So it's
listen,
it's a big catch and carry.
I'll give you a text after you do the show, but honestly, well done doing a wee show tonight, mate. It's a wee Brucey bonus, and I'll talk to you soon, pal. All right,
cheers.
Get Mrs. G looking at Princess Square in Glasgow, and I'll get hooked up with some cappuccinos. All right, yeah, you'll love it.
Right, perfect.
Right, buddy, you take care. God bless, pal.
Cheers. Well, the parrot's getting in touch. Seems like everybody's up for it. Is anybody going to sleep? No. Well, it's 6:40 here. just have 6. I'm just home from work, and I'm back on the whiskey. It's fantastic. The best 24 hours, really, that I've had in quite some time. You know, obviously the election turned my way and turned many people's way. Didn't turn some people's way, but you know that happens. You know, there's a winner, there's a loser, and that's the way it goes. But you know, in my mind, I think the world really won from the election. From the result. I'm trying to scroll up right now because I did have from Northeast Boy a quote from Jared Piqué, but I can't. This chat room in Spreaker is absolutely atrocious. It's atrocious, mate. I want to read out this quote because I think it's salient, and I think that it brings something. I'm going to have to paraphrase something from Mr. Shakira. But it speaks to... Oh, God, this bothers me. It speaks to, the appreciation that the great players in the world, I mean, obviously we've seen the quotes. We've seen Xavi talking about the connection that Celtic and Barcelona have. We've heard Clarence Seedorf refer to the, thank you, Northeast Boy, you just got it back up on the chat. Clarence Seedorf has sung the praises. Maldini has sung the praises. And manager after manager, with the exception of Bernd Schuster, which is German, I think, for fat douchebag. But Jared Piqué tonight says it's unlucky that we lost, even though I think we played well. Happy to be back. No words to describe the atmosphere at Celtic Park. I think that really sums it up. Jared Piqué. I mean, I just one of the premier defenders, footballers in the world, paying tribute to the greatness that is the Celtic support and the display that they put on at Celtic Park tonight. Truly extraordinary. I mean, the people that attended this game tonight, the people who were lucky enough to be there, are a tribute and just a compliment to the entire support. So. And the Green Brigade, I mean, listen, you can stand on either side of the fence with regard to the Green Brigade, with regard to the songs that they sing and the behavior that they exhibit. In my mind, their behavior has been nothing short of pristine. But what they did tonight was absolutely extraordinary. And in my mind, it warrants them getting a seat at the table, as it were, with the Celtic supporters' trusts, with the other bands of Celtic supporting organizations. I think they deserve a seat at the table, considering what they've brought to the atmosphere of Celtic Park over the past several years, in good times and bad. And then what they did tonight, extraordinary. No question about it. They validated and justified Neil Lennon taking the trophy over and putting it in front of their section. I mean, just words cannot describe it. You can talk about the ultra scene throughout Europe. You can talk about the supporters groups and so on. The Green Brigade is at the top of all of them, and there isn't a close second. Let's try and get in touch with a man that has really had fantastic past few months, really. Obviously with the demise of the artist formerly known as Rangers, and he's released a book recently called Downfall, how Rangers FC self-destructed, and he's kind enough to join us tonight to give us his thoughts into the game that he saw and the significance of it, and just his feelings. It's Phil McGillivon. Phil, you're live with Beyond the Waves Celtic Football Show. It's great to talk to you again. Hail.
It seems a long time since Philadelphia.
It certainly does.
A great time. And I was sitting here with my son, who I'm drinking tea, and he's drinking whiskey that was Scotch that was established, the company, in 1887. He's just reminded me.
How
so
convenient.
It's party time here in Donegal. And he stops being a teenager in 15 minutes. He's 20.
Oh, happy birthday.
So we've had a great time. I was reminded that when I was at Lincoln Field in Philadelphia, and I was speaking to Lenny, and he said that after the game, and first of all, we were all concerned about Dylan McGeer, that he was okay.
Yeah.
And he was. But then he went on to say that, and I know you were at the game, and I was up in the press box, that that friendly match, Real Madrid won 2-0, and Celtic got a real chasing. He said, although it was obviously a glamour friendly and over to America and all that, he said it was actually quite a useful education for the team in not having ball and being up against a team like Real that passed the ball so well. So when you think about it like that, it was actually, apart from it being a great party and being over and seeing our cousins, it was actually not a bad idea, was it?
You know what, Phil? I remember you talking about that on our show after the game, and that you brought that point up, and how that experience and the point that Neil Lennon made would hold us in good stead in these Champions League games, such as at Barcelona. I think you even made that example where, to that exact point, we need to find out how to work without the ball, and how to get results in spite of not having possession. That's what we clearly displayed over these two legs here. Barcelona led. In either of these ties, they had the lead for exactly 20 seconds.
Yeah. If you look at it, for 4 games in the Champions League group stages we've now played. We've played Benfica, Spartak, and Barca twice. We've lost 1 game. We've drawn 1 and won 2.
And the loss,
I mean, I would have expected at the start of this for Barcelona to beat everyone, including us, home and away. That's what I expected, and I thought we'd be in a dogfight with the other two teams for second place. I'd accept third place. Now I think I think it's in our hands to go into the last 16, which is an amazing learning curve that this young group of players is on, and a manager in his first job. A manager that's been assaulted at his work, has to be followed around by a bodyguard. He's had to put up with all of that. Men are serving long prison sentences for trying to do him significant harm. Yeah? And he's coped with all of that. And if we get through to the last 16, I think it's a fair bet that we will have the smallest football budget of any of those clubs in the last 16.
Easily.
Yeah, that is, whatever way you want to paint that or spin it from a Glasgow sports desk, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. That is a remarkable achievement.
It's Armageddon, Phil.
It's a slow lingering death. I can feel it sort of just coming up my left. I don't think we've got long to go. Yeah, Stuart Regan warned us and we didn't heed his warning. He says, if you apply the rules of the game, there will be Armageddon. There will be a slow lingering death. It will be awful. The skies will darken, etc., etc. No, we're doing great. There were, for me, 2 young Celtic players on display tonight who are on the cusp of being described as world class if they keep that up and if they keep developing. Certainly the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Certainly Victor Wanyama. Possibly Tony Watt if he keeps doing that. I mean, when he put that goal away, he looked about as nervous as he would be at a practice match in Lennoxtown.
Well, see, Phil, let me jump in here. And this is the comment that I have about Tony Watt, which I find is so exciting. We're here with a player, he's 19 years old, right? He understands exactly how talented he is in certain places. He knows exactly what he can do, and he's not afraid to exercise it at every opportunity. Here's a player who is just clear in his conviction. You can see it. You can see it, the look on his face when he's playing. And I think that even maybe his youth and inexperience, listen, even a 5-year-old would know that Barcelona is a giant club, but maybe some of his youth and some of that I don't want to say, I guess we have to say inexperience, maybe that helped him in a way because he didn't even know.
I just think he's just one of those natural players. He spins off the last shoulder in a way that really reminds me of George Cadet. Yeah? He's just got it. He just knows where to be. He just knows when to spin, when to turn, and he's not slow. And all that's fine, but he has to be able to finish, and he knows how to finish. We saw that tonight in spades. So what we've got here is we've got a group. I sent you a link through. I was asked to do a piece for the Celtic Network the other day there, and I just looked through the squad with 2 caveats added. One, I'm no football expert, and I certainly don't claim to be a clairvoyant. But the old man of the squad that I was looking through, that I would thought were like first team starters, was Chris Commons at 29. He's the old man.
Yeah.
He's 29. Tonight you had no Gary Hooper, no Scott Brown. Berham Kayal's not fully fit. Sammy's carrying an injury. Mm-hmm. It's marvellous stuff, absolutely marvellous. These are golden times. These are great times to be a Celtic supporter. Absolutely great times.
No question. I mean, think about Phil. Think about the valuation that is being put on Victor Wanyama at the moment, and then consider the fact that he might be undervalued. I mean, the rumors coming out, £17 million. Manchester United looking to lobbying a bid, and that might be undervaluing him. Neil Lennon might have hit the nail on the head with $25 million.
Yeah, sorry, 17 million low ball. Go away. We don't need to sell. Despite experiencing a slow lingering death and being fearful of Armageddon, etc. They can that offer can go and sleep with the fishes. I mean, just young Tony Watt. I mean, it's like maybe when he came on, maybe those Barcelona guys looked at him and he went, "He's only a kid." A 1,000 young centre forwards. But he had to go to the bathroom. Mascherano, he's Salazzo. Yeah. you know.
It just might work. It just might work.
Might work. Yeah, you know. You know, and we've got people on the internet. They might like a story like that.
They just might.
Yeah, it just might.
Phil, John G is getting in touch in the chat. He says Barcelona needs a strong Rangers. I think you might have a point there, but that's neither here nor there as pertains to our regard.
Well, I do think La Liga are starting to experience a slow lingering death.
Yes, I think it's starting to spread, and I think that I've described it in a sense of, we talk about Jacques Steen's shadow, and the fact that the artists formerly known as Rangers, they finally succumbed to hypothermia because of Rangers FC 1872 to 2012. They succumbed.
Yeah, it slipped my mind.
Right, it's been a while. It's been a while.
They're small potatoes, but you know what? We're bigger than US Steel.
But I'll tell you what. Well played. I'll tell you what. After they've succumbed to the hypothermia, and they tried to spend their way back into the sunshine and back into the heat and save themselves, and they couldn't. They couldn't get out of Jacques Steen's shadow, and now that shadow is growing. Neil Lennon is growing that shadow, and it's cast across Britain. You hear just sniveling remarks coming from some of the media types down south about Celtic playing anti-football or embarrassing Britain or whatever. And I what you described in terms of the money model, I'm the first to give Peter Lawwell a fair amount of stick. But what he has done, and the credit really needs to go to John Park and Neil Lennon in terms of what he's been able to do with this talent and bringing it through and nurturing it and getting the best out of it. But this model, especially in the financial fair play universe that we're about to enter, this really is the model to be emulated.
Listen, I mean, you and I are on the same page when it comes to looking at events in 2009, etc. But where we are now, we are where we are, is I'd written quite a while ago that, and I think I put it in the book, that the model for Scottish football, that obviously includes Celtic, the model must be Scandinavian and not English. Mm-hmm. So the model must be Rosenborg as opposed to Manchester City. And how are they doing in the Champions League? Yeah? Is that Rosenborg, Harold Brattbach's old club,
sure,
largely have a homegrown group of players. Now, they might not be actually Norwegian, most of them are, but most of them are homegrown, like Tony Watt. Right. You buy him in as a 17-year-old, you put him into your academy or whatever.
Right.
Right? Or you spot a youngish player like Wanyama. I think he was spotted as a 19-year-old. They bought him when he was 20. That sort of thing, and you develop them. And each year, the plan that Celtic have now, the model is, if they don't have Champions League money, they have to sell a player. Last year they did neither because of what was at stake in winning the league. So this year they have to do both.
Now, let me ask you a question, Phil.
We got Champions League money, obviously. We know this, but we had to sell a player, and that was key. Because they considered that they were strong in central midfield, even if they sold them, and I thought they get a really good deal in getting $6 million sterling for him.
I agree.
So that's the model. Maybe Victor has to be sold in the summer. Maybe it is of those numbers that you've been thrown around, and what that does is that's the equivalent of next year's Champions League money and maybe 2 acquisitions.
Well, let me ask you this, Phil. I mean, with every victory, we've seen the figures, and the result that we got away to Spartak Moscow, and then even, obviously we didn't get the result in Barcelona, but the result tonight, the 3 points, the win, that's another million, or give or take, some change. That's another £1 million that we can add that the SPL is going to take in, as well as the club itself. So, I mean, if we get to the last 16, and I agree with you, this is a very astute, this is a very good model, and yes, we may have to sell Victor. I don't want to sell him, but if somebody comes in and offers us $25 million, I'll drive him there. £25 million is a lot of money, and that answers a lot of other questions for a very long time. No question about it. And, there's certain offers that, pardon my reference here, but you just can't refuse. But if let's say we do progress into the last 16 and we do shock some people and maybe even advance and we continue that income stream, I can see a scenario where we very likely wouldn't even need to sell that marquee player if we didn't want to.
Well, I mean, the model that we're selling players in now, it's not a bank-driven fire sale that was being imposed on a particular dead club.
Yes.
Right? It's our choice. Obviously, if that level of fee comes in for any of our players, we're sold. Yeah? Because John Park and his team continues to be sourcing and looking, engaging, other players and assessing them and saying, yeah. And sometimes you hit gold, sometimes you hit a Wanyama, sometimes you find a Bangura. Yeah, it happens. It happens. Yeah.
You buy Bangura, I bang Wanyama. Let's call the whole thing off.
Yeah, I mean, like even there is no scouting set up in any top football club that has 100% hit rate in finding players or in the transfer market. But I think if you look at what has come in under Lennon, there have been a lot more heroes than zeros, a lot more. I think these are great days to be a Celtic supporter. Great days.
You got that right.
And I'm going to give you a little scoop, just a little garnish for your show tonight.
Go ahead.
I was working today on a new club that just came into Scotland. They're in the third division. You might not have heard of them. We don't need to sort of be vulgar with details.
Okay. Imagination.
Yes. However, despite being a young club and having no identifiable debts, so they say, they're in danger of running out of money rather quickly. Yes. I know. Just keep that to yourself.
Wouldn't tell a soul.
But I think you're going to be hearing more about that soon. Now, obviously, I have no track record. I accept that and being correct on these things. However,
Phil, you have to start somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going for it this time. I'm going for it. But I mean, I don't want Celtic supporters tonight overdosing on joy. But there may be another insolvency event before the end of this season.
No.
Yes.
Well, with that being said, I'm going to stock up on the ice cream and the jelly just in case.
Okay.
Just in case.
Sorry, I mean, we're talking get your jelly and ice cream in industrial quantity.
This is the greatest 24 hours of my life.
And by the way, just on another, talking about stocking up on food, great that you guys were able to hunker down and Sandy passed over you.
Yes.
We were all thinking about you, we were all praying about you. You were in our thoughts.
Thanks.
You're a kin. It's only upon your family. We were thinking about all of you.
Thank you, Phil. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate your support and you calling in. And before we let you go, tell us where we can find your fantastic blog, because obviously the listeners are going to want to read the blog and keep abreast of the latest development of this new club to Scotland, which is maybe going through a bit of a rough patch. Where can we read about this?
It's a new club, but I mean they went shopping for history and stuff, and they might have spent too much on the history because they're running into some financial trouble already. So it's www.philmcgillivon.ie. I think most of your listeners will have maybe occasion to cross it now and again.
They just might. They just might.
Absolute pleasure. Love the show. If you do not come over to Celtic to a European night, if we're still in Europe, as I expect us to be, after Christmas, then I'm going to have to give the job to Clemenza.
We're gonna have to sort it out, Phil.
And my big son, who's sitting beside me, just quietly smiling. He's a very cool Donegal guy.
Happy birthday! It's 12:01 there, so let us be the first to wish you many happy returns.
His name is Cahill.
Thank you very much, sir.
Cal, very very happy 20th birthday, and enjoy your 20s. That's all I'll say.
Well, I will. I think that the latter part of his teenage years were kind of going to plan, as in his plan, and not his parents' plan, but he's just a great guy. And it was party time here when Tony Watt found the net, I'll tell you. So listen, I'll let you go. Great show. To all your listeners, hail, hail. Happy birthday to Celtic. And these are great times.
Cheers, Phil. All the best. Yep.
Bye-bye.
The great Phil McGillivon. As you mentioned, you can find him at P. McGillivon on Twitter, as well as philmcgillivon.ie. Really one of the great investigative journalists of our sort of neck of the world, if you will. I'll include myself in that. If it is only through the message boards and Twitter itself. We got a couple of calls while Phil was on, so if you tried the call just now, please try and give us a call once again. We're getting a lot of calls, obviously, considering the gravity of what took place tonight. So I'm going to try and get everybody's calls in who wants to get in and talk and make a point. So, excuse me, like I mentioned, oof. I think the cider is starting to kick in. We're now joined by John Davila. John, you're live on Beyond the Waves Celtic Football Show. Hail, hail, pal.
Hail, Graham. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. As to be expected, 2-1 against the greatest football team that has ever lived. Excuse, you know what? I need to stop referring to that because now we've taken that title, by virtue of us beating them. Now, here's another snippet that just came upon me. They haven't lost in La Liga. And in my mind, they haven't lost in any competition this season until now. Hey, is somebody get in touch with me in chat or Twitter? Celtic is the first side that's beaten Barcelona this season. I think I'm right in that.
That is correct. They haven't lost. They're 9 wins and a draw in La Liga.
Yes.
And undefeated. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
They haven't lost since the end of last season.
Fantastic. Now, John, first off, I want to thank you for sending the stickers up. They're going to good use, let me tell you. I got to get some pictures up on Twitter. You're calling it from Myrtle Beach?
Aye.
A place that is very dear to my heart. I spent 4 years of my life there playing for the golf team, believe it or not, for Coastal Carolina, and I lived all over the Grand Strand. So you're in a very dear place to me, geographically. But first off, give us the scene there, okay? This is great. So I detect you're an American. You're calling it from an American place. Give us a sense for what the scene was like. Where did you watch it, and what was the atmosphere like? What were some of the responses and sort of the theme? And then give us your impressions of the game tonight. What are you thinking about the performance tonight, and then going forward? Just give us your thoughts there.
Well, like you're kind of grown into Celtic, and my story is for another, probably a whole nother show. But I've played since high school, probably since I was 12 in New Jersey as a traveling team, everything else. So my son plays in a travel team here in a high caliber league, and I've played forever. So I play with a bunch of guys, obviously around here, all Mexicans, and they own a Mexican restaurant. And they're all Barcelona fans. And I told them I usually go to this. There's, believe it or not, Graham, there's down the road from Coastal. There's an English guy from Manchester who's a City fan, opened up a restaurant there, and it's a proper English pub. And I go there, and I have the Baw Deep stickers are there and everything else, and I just didn't want to feel like going there. I wanted to go sit with these guys because last time I was there, I was by myself, and these guys, they all watched this game together over at this Mexican restaurant in Garden City where I live.
Sure.
And I went there, sat there, and there's probably 8 or 10 of us, and they're just all Barcelona fans. And
did you have the hoops on?
Do I have hoops on? I have
silly question.
Oh, silly question. So the first goal that went in, I'm running around the bar just after lunchtime, and there's probably 4 or 5 tables in the restaurant, and he's got to calm down. I'm like, yes, and I almost couldn't breathe, and I'm screaming at these guys, going, I told you, Barcelona's a bunch of fucking midgets. And they're just like, okay, you call, because just before Mulgrew hit the corner, I'm like, watch this. It's either Lustig, or it's going to be Wanyama, or it's going to be Mulgrew for a header in the corner. I'm telling you, and it went in, and they looked at me in total shock.
Ay, Dios mío.
Yeah. I don't think those are the quite words they were saying at that point in time.
Pobrecito!
I'm going crazy. I literally going crazy. And then
I can't stop laughing.
And then they gave the goal kick and the one Messi got before the end of the half. And they did the same. And they get the goal kick where he was right around the yard, just ripped it, and he got the hand on it. Oof. And they're just like, oh, it's just a matter of time. And most of the time, I just read. I'm looking at Facebook. I cannot breathe.
John, are you? Sorry, John. Are you on a cell phone? We're breaking up a little bit. I think it's a little clearer now. Go ahead. Did I lose you? I think I lost him. Maybe he said he was going to call me back. I don't know. Okay, so for all the smartasses in the chat room, yes, I get it. Okay, they lost to Real Madrid, some Diddy team. All right, they were the first actual. Here we go. Worldwide football club that beat them this year. All right, smartasses. So whatever. Real Madrid beat them. I get it. Who cares? Yes, John. Sorry, I was sorting out the chat room. People are getting fresh. Before we get back into it, yeah, that's definitely better. Northeast Boy is getting in touch with another quote. This was from Javi, who's my favorite player out with Celtic players. He said the stadium was marvelous, the fans, the people. It's an example for everyone. So fantastic. I love a bit of Javi. I do. I don't care. I just love watching him play. I mean, I will start loving watching him play once again now that he's left Celtic with his tail between his legs. I think we lost John again. That's unfortunate because I like hearing from the Americans. Shout out again to the Rev. He's at the whatever you call it, the Red Bulls. Yeah, they're going to be freezing, mate. There's a nor'easter going up the East Coast right now, and unfortunately bringing a lot of wind and rain to places that don't need it, and up in North Jersey and as well as New York. Speaking of which, thank you so much to everyone who's donated to the American Red Cross and to all of the efforts and the fundraising that's gone up. Jesus. Now joining us is Yampy, Scott Richards from the confines of South Jersey. Hey, Yamp, are you in a jacuzzi?
Dude, I can barely hear you, man. How am I sound, okay?
It sounds like you're in a jacuzzi.
Yeah, I wish I was in a jacuzzi right now, man. I had a little bit of a load on.
You're a lot better now. How's it going, pal?
Not too bad. How you doing, man?
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I was enjoying the tweets coming through on Twitter. You can find him at Yampy, and I'll retweet some of his stuff pretty soon. Hey, listen, you got to clean up, otherwise your wife is going to start knocking over all your empties.
Oh, she'll kick me in the nuggets, dude. She's not too happy when I leave a little bit of a mess around.
Listen, it happens. My wife is upstairs right now. She just got home from work. She has no idea that I was even doing this. So I'm going to get a swift kick in the balls eventually. But what do you think, man? What are your thoughts at this point? I mean, the result today, absolutely phenomenal. More than I predicted 2-0 on Paradise Preview. It was a 2-1. Okay, fine. We let in the goal, but I think it was more than many people were expecting. And in hindsight, we really shouldn't be surprised because this team exhibited the same character, the same heart away at the new camp. There's no reason why they can't do it at Celtic Park. And given that opening montage from the Green Brigade that encapsulated the entire stadium, I mean, how could you not just want to run through a wall for that? But going forward from here, considering the amount of confidence that these players, I mean, Tony Watt beaming, grinning from ear to ear in the interview afterward. You can't even find the words. Who knows if he even knows enough words to be able to use in an interview? But he's wearing Lionel Messi's jersey. I mean, think about the confidence that absolutely. Think about the confidence that these players are playing with. I mean, it's certainly looking good in terms of getting out of this group at this point, isn't it?
I'm still a little nervous about Benfica and everything, maybe trying to pip us at the end and everything. But I mean, talking about Tony Watt for a minute and everything, I was just so ecstatic that he got in the lineup in the last 20 minutes and everything, and it was just come on, dude, just one time, please, just do something. And I mean, I've been begging on him all week. I want him to play the full 90 and everything, and everybody's giving me stick and everything, being like, oh, you can't start him in front of Hooper and everything, and I love Hooper, but I mean, it's are you serious? This guy has speed and skill to the nth degree, and it's you saw that. I mean, you just saw that. He's a game changer, and you can't keep him out of the lineup.
No.
I mean, the guy, he went out there, and it's like, when he had the ball on his foot there, you were like, this is going 2-0. This place is going to go ape shit now. Are you serious? I mean, that's Tony fucking Watt, dude. I mean,
when it went in, it's 2-0, you know, and that's a great point, because up until then, it's 1-0, and then it's like, I don't know. Listen, some people have an optimistic sort of mindset ingrained. Some people have a pessimistic, and you can guess what mine is. So we're up 1-0, and it's like, just hold on, come on, you know, clock tick. And then when we get 2-0, it's like, I mean, just the release. You know, I'm just running around screaming at the top of my lungs. The cat is still, you know, just completely just disturbed from it. I don't think she's ever seen that sort of response from me. But it just it gave us
down the house, man.
It gave us that cushion.
Are you okay? I'm like, fucking Celtics winning. Leave me alone. Like, fucking, are you kidding me? We're up 2-0 on Barca. And it's like, when you saw that, I mean, you saw Celtic Park was just going off the fucking chain, dude. It was off the fucking chain. People just hugging and grabbing. It's like, oh my God, we're taking it to the fucking best club in the goddamn world. Are you serious? Are you serious?
You're listening to Goodfellas CSC here on Beyond the Waves. We've had two Jersey guys. We've had two Jersey guys back to back with using the F word and as a noun, verb, and adjective. No. Proceed.
If you didn't get even a little bit emotional about just went on, then you should just put your shit back in the drawers and stuff, because it's like, this was a day of days in every sense of the word.
Never forget it.
It was 2-0, and it was a freaking party. It wasn't like sweating bullets to the last goddamn second. All of a sudden, it's like we are 2-0 up on this club that thinks they're going to come into Glasgow and own us. Seriously, and it's not happening. This is our day. It's our day, and how awesome was it to feel you have a little bit? You can just take an exhale for 2 seconds and say, you know what? We got this. We got this. Watt just put us over the top, and we got this.
Well, that final whistle, I mean, the release that you have, I mean, especially on the heels of what happened on the other leg, you know, the game at the new camp where it was so disappointing. I mean, yes, you can, you talk about, good for you. You talk about moral victories and how the players and the commentary, even the articles that were written. Celtic came and people were predicting 4-0, 5-0, and the odds that they were given, it's just ridiculous. And then the whistle blows at the end of 94 minutes tonight, and the release of all of that was built up. And then you see Neil Lennon. That's what did it for me. When you saw Neil Lennon run out on the pitch and he's hugging all the players, and he's just, I mean. He is Celtic. I mean, look at his response. Look at people are he's enjoying the moment. He's loving his football. That's because he is Celtic. He's one of us.
Absolutely loves the club, and I mean, it's like he's done wonderful things. Think about where we were with Tony Mowbray and everything else, and where we come to at this point now. I mean, someone mentioned last week, Landry Nguemo and shit, and I was like, really, dude? I fucking forgot that guy. The moment he walked out the door, and it's like all of a sudden we're just like, we have options. We have bench options that can pick up the squad. I mean, come on. I mean, this is like the halcyon times of this club, and if you can't get into it just a little bit, then you just don't get it.
Find another team to support. Club. No question. I summed it up with, during that Mowbray reign, and then obviously when he was sacked, I mean, you could struggle to find one player on the team whose jersey that you wanted to go out and buy. At this point, I can't figure out. I'm the opposite. I can't even figure out which player I'm going to choose.
Wanyama, Watt, take your pick. I mean, they're just from pillar to post. You got guys that are just stepping up and representing the club. Look at that other joke club in the friggin' bottom of losing to East Sterling and shit. Really? It's like, who are you going to pick from that friggin' garbage? And we have a club that is one of the top 15 teams in the world. Wrap your head around that for a second. This is one of the best clubs in the world. You're not, and they do it on a budget that's like 1/10 of what friggin' Barcelona does. Barcelona team player salaries last year spent $362 million US. We're lucky we pay a tenth of that. And this club is knocking them off. We got supporters not getting a goddamn dime from the club and still dropping over 10 grand in the worst of economic times to put up some of the most beautiful tifo you ever saw. If you don't appreciate the club you support, then you need to get the fuck out, because this is a wonderful, wonderful club. And I am proud to be an American Celtic supporter, an East Coast boy, and a Tim at heart. I love Celtic because they are a team to be proud of.
Well said. Wonderful. Wonderfully put. Why have you not called in before? You need to call in every week. I'm telling you, Yomp.
That's why.
I'm telling you, Yomp. You have nothing to be apprehensive about whatsoever.
I get nervous, Graham. I get nervous.
No. Nothing to be nervous. Come on. You know, you're kicking around empties. We're already getting feedback in the chat.
I so love this club, Graham. You don't even know.
I know.
Nobody. I mean, it's like I'm an American. I'm like 6,000 miles away, and I go ape shit in my house, and everybody's just like, it's good that you're passionate about something.
I'm laughing because I'm with you. I do the same exact thing, and it's nice to know that we're in this together, and sometime we gotta all go over there together and let this club know that we exist, and and just have a fantastic time. But
and I'd be all about that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Graham, for having me on.
No, I appreciate it. Listen, Yump, hopefully we hear from you again, all right? Don't be a stranger.
I definitely won't.
All right. Thanks, pal. See ya.
You got it.
That's Yampy, Yahmpy. Met him a couple months ago at the Philadelphia versus or no, not Philadelphia. It was in Philadelphia, and Phil had referred to it before. Sorry, I got cider, I got whiskey, I got all sorts of alcohol. We're on the lash, mate. I met him at the Celtic versus Real Madrid. You know that Diddy team in Philadelphia when we had the friendly, and fantastic stuff. So shout out to all of the Philadelphia Celtic supporters that are going through there. And speaking of Philadelphia, here's a guy who wishes that he was from Philadelphia so he could support all of the fantastic clubs in Philadelphia. Oh, did we lose him? Oh, I guess we lost him. He must have been nervous too. It's probably very cold out in the lovely confines of Hamilton, New Jersey. So as we were saying, we're joined by a guy who wishes that he was from Philadelphia so that he could support all of the great teams that come from the city of brotherly love. Who else could I be talking to? I'm talking about the Rev. Hail, Rev.
Tony fucking Watt.
That's all that needs to be said. Where are you right now?
Right now, I'm about a half a mile away from Newark Airport. I'm in a traffic crawl.
Are you getting on a plane? Are you going to Glasgow to celebrate?
I'm trying to hurry up and catch the a red eye over.
Fantastic.
This afternoon was so great, and even though we're now hit with a snow-a-cane after the hurricane, I'm trying to head over to the Red Bulls game and hopefully continue, today's festivities.
Okay, now let's break down the Red Bull game just briefly here. You had the so Red Bull's going up against my local team. I could really give a shit, to be honest. DC United. You got the 1-1 result. In spite of going down to 10 men, and I guess it was DC United that went down to 10 men. I was watching. I wasn't watching. So 1-1 tonight. It's all to play for at Red Bull Arena. Fantastic arena. Hopefully you guys, you can fill it in spite of the fact that you have terrible weather. What are you thinking about in terms of the Red Bull tonight? I mean, can you pull it out? Can you finally win a trophy this year for once?
I don't know. It'd be nice. I'm not going to have any, illusions to say, definitely it's a year or anything like that. But, we're in the playoffs, so that's really all you need. You just need to get hot.
Rev, let me ask you a question, because you and I are both like-minded, and I know that everybody doesn't have, the clarity of thought that you and I do, but nonetheless, have you had a better 24 hours recently than you had just now, considering, the events that have taken place? I mean, I don't know, let's just go through it. What are your thoughts there?
Between, Mitt Romney not being elected president, between, Celtic beating Barca, between Halo 4 coming out, really can't stop it unless the Red Bulls go and win. But, that's – if they don't, whatever,
Halo 4? Really, Rev?
I'm going with it. I'm sticking with it.
You're listening to Nerd Boys. Nerd Boys on Beyond the Waves Celtic Football Show. I kid, Rev. Fantastic. You enjoy your Halo 4, and, that's great. Now, where did you watch the game today? Did you watch it at home? Did you go out to partake any of the revelry, as it were, and just what were your takeaways from the game? Obviously, it was great. What were what was your feeling as the game went on, as it built? You know, we got the relatively early lead. Were you confident that, you know, it's like, you know what, this time we're going to make it right? Were you nervous? Like, here we go again? Take us through your experience watching the game. Hello.
Hello. All right. I was thinking about heading up to Manhattan and watching either at Jack Dempsey's or going up to with the Bronx Boys if I had the time, because Amy was actually in the city today, but she came home early in the morning, so, you know, I figured, you know, fuck it, just stay home. I watched the majority of... Yeah, fuck it. I watched the majority of the game hiding underneath my scarf. I didn't put a jersey on. I just, you know, it's a bit cold, so I threw a scarf on. I took my Humira, and, you know, I took Benadryl with it, so I actually got a little sleepy, and I'm just in bed with my scarf around my neck, and I just wrapped it over my eyes. I could just barely peek out underneath, and, you know, just to watch the game. Just trying to keep my composure. The last 20 minutes or so were just, well, 20 minutes before the goal were just hectic, you know, and I was more nervous this afternoon than I was, you know, last night with polls closing and everything like that, so that should say something. And then once Tony scored, it was just orgasmic, you know?
It's just the release. It was like, yes!
Just the release was,
we got
the
cushion
like,
now.
What's that?
We got like a cushion now, you know. Prior to that, it was like, okay, 1-0, you know, they're going to score at any second. And then when we got that, you can almost even see the response from their end. Like, okay, we're really going to have to bring it now to even this thing up. And you saw a different intensity almost from them from then on, in spite of the fact they got the late goal. And they really pushed it, you know, over the last couple of minutes, and things got a bit tense then. But, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I was... You know, even after, you know, the second goal went in, you know, I was still a little nervous, but nowhere near as nervous as I was. I'm just thinking, you know, now they're going to have to score 2 goals, you know, and we still get a point, and I'll be happy with a point. You know, as that was my thought going into the game. So now, you know, go with, you know, four minutes left before the 90, and I'm like, all right, if we collapse and still get a point, as much as that would suck, we still get a point. And
you're so negative. You're so I called it. You know, I mean, I said 2-0. You know, I didn't see the late goal coming, but I knew it all along. And by the way, Rev, you're not allowed to ever predict another Champions League Celtic game for any other score but 1-1. I'm telling you that now.
I'll do it. My man of the match is, I'm going to have to give it to Forster, just because, you know, you can name anyone on the team, but, you know, those stops that he had, the 1 or 2 blank stops with his wrist, I mean, come on, it's
ridiculous.
He's my man of the match.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a great point as well, because some of the times, I mean, you could see, obviously he was up for it, and then he'd make the saves, and then, you know, either he'd get the ball away or, you know, go out for a corner or whatever, and you could see him, you know, he's clapping, he's motivating, just cheering on his back four and getting them well up for it. But you could also see the look on the Barcelona player's face, like looking up and sort of looking around like, here we go again. You know, it's going to be absolutely impossible. You know, we're going to have to do something especially remarkable, as opposed to what we typically do, which is just plain remarkable. They knew they had it was here we go again. You know, this is not going to be easy, and that was everything for this side. That set up, you know, a lot of the opportunities and the challenges that, you know, some of our back four and even the holding midfielders had throughout the game. He was the rock, no question about it. I think that's a great choice.
And, you know, yeah, the goal he let in, I mean, there's nothing he could do about that. Nothing anyone else could do. Everyone was, you know, marking somebody. And, you know, that, what's his name, Messi, that Messi kid? I predict good things for him. He's going to go somewhere, that kid.
He's got some upside.
You know, it took him 180 minutes to score on you know, Fraser Forster, but, you know, he can go somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's always got his head up, and, you know, there will be opportunities for him.
I was just barking out, stuff that whole game, like, run back, cover this guy, when Messi took that free. I'm just like, watch the far post, watch the far post.
Oh, see, I was just yelling out, do him there. Who cares? Just do him.
I'm not gonna say hey, we got the points, the victory, whatever, but it's a push. But Song should have been gone twice. Mascherano should have been gone. So whether that's the ref just being really nice or lenient or just, really trying to help him out, I'll leave that up to, some better pundits. But, we should have had, at least a one-man advantage going into the end of the game.
I would agree. And I think that, most rational thinking football supporters and observers would agree with you there, definitely. Rev, before we let you go, are you with Amy? And what's your prediction? What's your scoreline prediction tonight going into? Do you feel confident Red Bull can pull this out and move on?
I'm reserved. The team, going all the way back to '96, has a history of stupid things happening. Yeah, just things you wouldn't expect happening, and there goes the game. But no, she's not with me. She was going to come, didn't want to go out in the weather, so I'm going it alone. And, she saw the tweet that I sent to you saying that I was going to call you from the road, and she's like, don't you dare, but hopefully she's not listening.
Yeah, I'm sure she's not listening. Listen, don't take your shirt off, okay, because it's cold.
If that's how we do it, 88th minute, shirtless when we're winning. If it comes to that, I will... the shirt will be coming off.
Don't worry, you won't win. Rev, calling in from the road, thank you so much. And, we'll talk to you, I guess, on Sunday if you can make it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'll be there whenever our next show is.
Thank you, sir. All the best tonight. Good luck, and we'll talk to you soon. Be safe.
Later, everybody.
All right, hello. The Rev, calling in from the road. Yampy, he comes on the show and he says he's nervous and never without words in the chat though. 17 years, no cup, Rev. So there you go. I would have to echo that. Okay, well that was fun. It was nice, a little different after work for me, and after the midnight hour for most of you. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up. I think it's dinner time. My wife is home, and probably be bad form if I continued on without going up to say hello to her and find out how her day was. And I think she probably has an understanding of how my day was. Oh, before we go, we're joined once again by John. John, you're live on Beyond the Waves Celtic Football Show. Thanks for calling back, pal. I guess we had a bad Skype connection, but we were talking about your experience with the Mexican.
Fucking kill me. Oh, I hate Skype sometimes.
Well, that was interesting. I think he's got a bit of a bad connection. Maybe he's calling it from the iPhone or what have you, and that tends to happen. But hopefully we can get him back with a better connection, because I always love hearing from the American Celtic supporters. And as Yampy very very passionately and succinctly summed it up, it's just something unlike we really experience here. And even if we grew into it as opposed to being brought up with it, the passion definitely is always there. And speaking of passion always being there, never to be denied, we're joined now by Josh Gaffney, the purveyor of all things great amongst the Hail Hail Media website at hailhailmedia.com, rather. Yep. And CelticTalk.org, as well as my partner in crime for the Paradise Preview podcast right here on Hail Hail Media. I think I really nailed it, Josh. With the Paradise Preview that we just recorded, you can listen back to. Everybody listening in can fact check it. Go back and listen. I think I nailed it, Josh. What say you?
You did. Back in that episode, I was thinking, he's confident in his Admiral, but, I don't think it's really going to happen. But I predicted a 1-1 draw. But yet again, we got the lead first, and the way that we tactically set up, every player was faultless. We managed to hold on to a lead, and then, we stepped up a gear and got another goal, went 2-0 up against them, and then, unfortunately, we conceded a little bit of a weak goal at the end, unfortunately.
I know, Fraser Forster with a howler.
I don't know who was usually covering that position. As far as I know,
Should have been
for most of the
Matthews.
game, Charlie Mulgrew was coming in behind Adam Matthews,
Yeah,
and
that's
Adam
true.
Matthews was going to wide.
That's true. He was tucking in a bit, underneath Matthews, and Matthews was covering the flank. You're absolutely right. And especially after Lustig went off, obviously it shifted back into more of a contemporary lineup and personnel setting, I guess, if you will. But it's so hard to assign sort of fault for those sorts of scenarios. I mean, Messi was at the corner of the 18-yard box when the ball went into Forster and bounced off him, and he was there in literally no time. You turn around and he's just by you, and who knows where Mulgrew was. The players and their movement, especially even within the 6-yard box, it's hard to keep track of where each player is if you're going to play man or if you're going to play zonal marking. I mean, you can tie yourself into a complete contortion. So, it's inevitable that something like that potentially can happen. But the fact that we only had one and that it took full 90 minutes in order for that to happen, I think is extraordinary.
Yeah, and basically just came on. I know you're quite busy. I just came on just to really talk about just quickly on why I thought we kind of really won the game today.
Please.
Well, first of all, difference between this game and the last game. This game we worked a lot harder than Barcelona. The distance we covered was 112 kilometers versus Barcelona's 108.5. It might not seem like much, but just a few different, a few kilometers in difference can heed big results. Joe Ledley 12.4 kilometers. Miku was actually the top guy of the night in terms of the effort put in, 12.5. And Miku, I think that's why we had a bit more success tonight, because he was really pushing the agenda to Barcelona and making sure they weren't getting the ball as comfortably in their own half, just by really pushing the tempo for them, basically on about the halfway line.
I agree completely. The comment about Miku thus far, and let's be honest, Miku has not had much time on the pitch, and his time has typically been in a substitute's role, which, certain players are cut out for that. Certain players can handle that. Some players, they need to start. And it's a bit unfair to judge, but what he did tonight without the ball and some of the great work that he put in, I think a lot of it comes down to his experience playing with Getafe, or it was Lasad that was with, where did Miku come from? It was Real...
Getafe, Miku came from Getafe, and Lasad came from Deportivo.
Okay, and I was confused because Lasad almost went to Getafe and we took him. So Miku, in essence, by proxy of his playing in La Liga, playing against Barcelona twice a year, and the experience that comes from that, even if he wasn't playing in the game, certainly being around players who've played against them consistently, that sort of experience, I think it was invaluable. I mean, I even predicted, that Tony Watt would be starting tonight as opposed to Miku, and maybe bring in Miku as a substitute. But Neil Lennon, once again, I mean, he proved his wisdom in starting Miku, because that wisdom that he had, or I'm using wisdom a lot now, but the experience that he had in the Liga and playing against Barcelona, and that feedback, I think has proved invaluable. I mean, we saw the result of that.
Yeah, and basically the way we set up was Miku and Samaras would basically do the job of like what the wingers would do in their games typically at Celtic Park, and basically push the ball out wide. So Miku's like covering the right, Samaras is covering the left, and this allowed Chris Commons and Charlie Mulgrew to come further back and make sure that Barcelona weren't getting behind us. That was basically the way they got the ceiling goal at the new camp. Jordi Alba got past James Forrest. But this game, it allowed Chris Commons to come back and really act as a right back at times, or a right wing back almost. He acted through quite a lot of the game.
Yes.
And also Miku being up there with George Samaras, it gave us an out ball. So often we're kicking the ball at the field, and Miku would be trying to get on it, or Samaras would be trying to get on it, even if it wasn't close to them. The two of them were, be able to cover a lot of ground, and just we'll push the ball a lot more in this game than we did at New Camp.
Agree completely. And we understood what our what our limitations were and what we were capable of, and we had a strategy, especially for that. And what I pointed out was the utility that Tony Watt or even Mikko, and he had a couple of opportunities. Typically, we would expect Samaras, but Samaras had a bit of a different role tonight, as you I think very astutely pointed out. But when Tony Watt came on, his utility, and he displayed it just exceptionally well, was exploiting how high of a line that they're going to play. And make no mistake, Barcelona is always going to come out and play a high line against us. Exploiting that, peeling off the defenders with just exceptional timing, getting behind them, and then putting it away. I mean, it was just the coolest finish you'd ever expect. Victor Valdez, for me, is probably the most overrated keeper in the world. And Fraser Forster might be the most underrated, even with regard to the exploits or not the exploits, but the compliments that he's gotten over the past month. I still think he's underrated, but Victor Valdez, I mean, there was really nothing he could do, on a 1v1 like that. But let me get your thoughts. Let's talk about Tony Watt here. Everybody has a different man of the match, and that's to be expected. I mean, everybody played in a man of the match sort of fashion. That's exactly what we needed. That's exactly what we got. Tony Watt specifically came on tonight as a substitute. I finally got one of those right. Last weekend I had Mikko flip back and forth. Thank you to Jason from Homeboys for pointing that out to me. But Tony Watt comes on, and just superb. Once again, the guy his goals to games ratio is scary. From now on, I mean, is Tony Watt undroppable? Has he become undroppable given his recent form, and especially what he did tonight?
Well, Tony Watt, we can definitely see that he's got a natural talent and he's got the potential to be a great player. The only thing I don't want to do is really use him right now and limit his future potential. We've seen players like Walcott and Owen and players like that, where basically they're put into a different training regime to really produce the best performance each week. And, you listen to the players when they get a summer break, what they go away and do. They'll do like some weight training and, get their cardio up and stuff like that. It's really good for Tony Watt to get some match experience, but at the same time, I wouldn't like him to focus too much on getting a performance every single week and, keep the long term in mind, I'd say.
Yeah, you know what? That's a very good point. I've seen some comments and in certain circumstances, like, oh God, stick in the mud. But there is a certain sense of reality here where he is so young, and you do, from time to time, come across a special player, that everybody would sort of refer to as a special player, and for whatever reason they just don't pan out. They fizzle, or they reach their apex far too early in their playing careers and never really seem to meet the expectation that everybody sort of allays onto them. And it is early in his career, and you do want to be careful because, most folks, and Neil Lennon, I'm sure, is the biggest advocate of this, feels as though we have a very special player on our hands, and we want to make sure that he develops into the player that everyone expects he could become, and to his full potential. So it's good to exercise some caution and some prudence there, but certainly exciting times. Given what he's demonstrated and what he's capable of.
But, looking at Neil Lennon's track record so far with the players he's developed, Georgios Samaras, for example, came into Celtic. Georgios Samaras he was at a very low state.
He was a donkey, mate!
We didn't know where he was going to fit in, and Neil Lennon, slowly we developed him into a player that is very, very valuable to the squad now. Yeah. So I've got full confidence that Neil Lennon will be able to develop Tony Watt into the best player he can possibly be. No question.
The track record is definitely there. And with that, the faith of the entire Celtic support is behind him. It's just fantastic days, exciting days, like Phil said when he was on, Phil McGillivon. It's just a great time to be supporting Celtic, so long may it last. But Josh, thanks so much for calling in. I'm going to wrap it up. Otherwise, my wife will beat me. So really appreciate it, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Yep. One last thing I'd like to say before I go off is Benfica won tonight, that's probably not the best result for us, but it means if we win our next game, then we can secure the second spot.
So if we do get the 3 points from the next game, it's done. We've gotten at least the second spot.
If we get 1 point, if we can get the draw there, and Spartak Moscow lose against Barcelona, which it'd be a wee bit dodgy. They did get a 3-2 at the new camp.
I love it.
So if Spartak Moscow lose and we get a draw over in Lisbon, we've got the second spot.
Monda Barca! All right, fantastic. Great stuff, Josh. Thanks so much for calling in, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Hail, hail.
Hello. Josh Gaffney of CelticTalk.org, as well as all of the great things and designs and efforts that he's put in through HailHailMedia.com, the gaffer, as we'd like to say, and the partner in crime for me on the Paradise Preview, which I absolutely nailed for this game. Got everything right. You should listen to it. You should definitely hear it. You can. It's right on Hail Hail Media, on the Spreaker page, and we're Josh and I typically every week previewing that weekend's game, and I guess we're gonna take a break this week because I'm absolutely spent. But we did a Barcelona preview, and I think we'll skip St. Johnson, but maybe I don't know. Maybe we'll do a Spartak or a Benfica preview as well as the weekend's games. But it's always good crack. And it's about 15 minutes, nothing too crazy. You don't need to make a huge investment in your life. But we try and get the statistics and the background and just keep it very objective and leave all the BS for the Beyond the Waves show with the call-ins and the great commentary from the Rev as well as the coach. So shout out to the coach. Hopefully he's doing well. And the Rev, who we heard from tonight. And thank you to everyone who's called in tonight. Fantastic day for Celtic and our support, and we'll be back on Sunday after the tie against St. Johnson. So to everybody, enjoy the rest of the evening. I know there's going to be a few of us that'll be sleeping, but fantastic stuff, great result, and onwards from here. So taking us out, as always, Shane McGowan and the Pogues, and you've been listening to another Beyond the Waves Celtic football show. My name's Graham Wilson. Hail, hail, and keep the faith. We'll talk to you soon.
The island, it is silent now, but the ghosts still haunt the waves. And a torch lights up a famished man who fortune could not save. Did you work upon the railroads? Did you ride the streets of crime? Were your dollars from the White House? Were they from the 5 and dime? Did the old songs start to cheer you? And did they still make you cry? Did you count the months and years? Or did your teardrops quickly dry? I know it was not to be on a coffin ship. I came here and I never even got so far that they could change my name. Thousands are sailing across the western ocean to a land of opportunity that some of them will never see. Fortune prevailing across the western ocean, their bellies full, their spirits free. They'll break the chains of poverty and they'll dance. In Manhattan's desert twilight, in the dead of afternoon, we stepped hand in hand on Broadway, like the first man on the moon. And a blackbird broke the silence as you whistled, it's so sweet. And in Brendan Behan's footsteps I danced up and down the street. And we said goodnight to Broadway, giving it our best regards. Took our hats to Mr. Cohen, dear old Times Square's favourite bird. Then we raised a glass to JFK and a dozen more besides. When I got back to my empty room, I suppose I must have cried. Thousands are sailing again across the ocean with a hand of opportunity. Trust tickets in a lottery. Postcards were mailing with skyward skies and oceans from rooms that daylight never sees. And lights don't glow on Christmas trees. And we danced to the music and we danced. Thousands are sailing across the western ocean with a hand of opportunity. Trust tickets in a